Hey guys, this is Ian Michaels SG3D here. I wanted to tell you guys something that I haven't wanted to tell you guys, but I never did. I never did tell you guys. So this is the moment. I know I promised in the video that I made before summer vacation started that I would make an interview video, but I decided to put that aside and make a short documentary video, and here goes. So if a lot of you don't know, I have done strange things in my videos, and they are part of my interests of weirdness. And all the trailers and the tests is all part of my film interests as well. To tell you guys the truth, I have a high functioning autism, and I can sometimes not communicate that well. I can sometimes get emotional. I can sometimes get angry. I can be protective about certain things. Those can be the cons of my autism. But the pro about people with autism is that they can have multiple traits that are fixated on one thing that's awesome to them, fixated on another thing that's awesome to them. Sometimes there are savant autism, people with savant autism that are like huge geniuses that are really good at math, like Rain Man and Ben Affleck's character from The Accountant. So what I am mostly fixated on is both movies and retro things. And when it comes to movies, I can tell when it was made, how good the quality is, how they did it, how they did that certain pan they did in the movie theaters and stuff like that. This is my Panasonic that I bought over a month ago at a yard sale, and to tell you the truth, it still works. And I have a bunch of tapes inside this box. These are all my tapes that I got from this old lady, and I just wanted to take them because she didn't need them anymore. And I'm glad I got the Panasonic, because if I bought the Panasonic and had no tapes, I would only use it for films and not be able to listen to music. So like I said earlier, it still works. I have played it with classic tapes. I played them out loud, and it's really interesting. It's so awesome that this still works. Works like a charm. I also have this Walkman I recently got from a friend of mine. He just gave it to me out of the blue after I showed my Panasonic. It's one of those weatherproof ones that you can just carry it out in the rain and snow. And it plays a tape, and not only that, but you can listen to the radio on this thing, and it's actually pretty awesome. I carry it with me whenever I go on a walk, and just listen to music. And some people will notice it and think it's just awesome because they remember having these back in the 80s and 90s. I also have this Sega Genesis classic game console, and it comes with like 80 games, like the Sonic games, Mortal Kombat, and Vector Man, and it's been really fun. I own this for 2 years, and it's actually really a lot of fun because it makes me feel like I'm actually in the 90s. Speaking of that, this may sound strange, but my autistic mind, I switch back and forth from present and then go into the 70s, 80s, and 90s, which means that I can carry stuff with me that was like from the 70s and wear clothing that was from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, because that's what I'm interested in. I'm really interested in those time areas, and I want to travel back in time to those specific time areas. Like if I traveled back to 1977, I could watch Star Wars in theaters to know what it was really like, because watching Star Wars is like really good. That owning the original theatrical version is awesome. I know I've shown you this in one of my other videos, but this is what I have: a Star Wars trilogy. It's the original trilogy on the VHS, and they still work. This version came out in 1995. 2 years before the special edition came out. So this is very, very rare. I got this from a family member years ago, and I didn't know it was the original. But when I watched it in a history of cinema class in the 9th grade, I was so excited because it was the original. I always thought the special edition versions were the original, and this possibly costs a lot of money, but watching the original is really good, because if you watch the special edition and never seen the original theatrical version, then you don't know what you're missing out on. I also have a Star Wars Collector Series action figure that came out in 1996. It's a Star Wars Collector Series. I bought this at a yard sale, and when you open it up, it has Luke Skywalker. It comes with his lightsaber and blaster binoculars, and it shows a little like a summary about Luke Skywalker. And that picture right there, I don't think that was in the movie. I also own the original 1986 theatrical version of Aliens. This VHS was sponsored in 1987, and this one came out in 1990, but it's the original theatrical version. I own the special edition director's cut, but I think this is really cool because I watched it in HD. But having this is actually a collector's item, because the original theatrical version of Aliens, because Aliens is probably one of my favorite sequel movies of all time. Another fixation I have is swords. I have been in love with dark fantasy ever since I was a little kid. I would watch Lord of the Rings, and for the past year I've been watching Game of Thrones, and it's been wicked awesome. To show you the first sword I ever got, it's not really a sword, it's a letter opener, but it's actually the Longclaw letter opener from Game of Thrones, from the novel collection. This one came out in 2013, and it has the Night's Watch oath in the back, and it's actually really cool. When I first read this, when it was given to me, I didn't know what it was. When I turned around, I looked at the blade. I'm like, holy crap! This is a letter opener for the sword. It's a genuine, interesting item, and it's probably my first sword ever. I actually would love to have an actual sword replica of this, but I don't. But it's really cool. It makes you feel like I have the actual sword, except it's a little bit smaller. This sword was given to me for my 15th birthday. It's the first actual sword I ever got. This was given to me after I got the Longclaw replica. And this is it. It's the Godric Gryffindor sword replica. I have used this in my films, but not a lot of people have recognized it that much. This sword replica was made in Pakistan. Shown on the blade, you can't see it that much on the screen, but it was made in it. It's not the actual sword from the movie, but it's a replica of it. If you look closely at the blade, it's kind of breakable. Like this is not normally sharp and thin. It's blunt. It's kind of bent right here. Then it goes long like this. Then there's like a tippy part, not that sharp at all, but you can still hearthstone with it. But this was one of my favorite movie swords of all time, and I also always wanted Stain, but I got this because this was the very best sword I ever loved. This is another sword I got after I got Godric Gryffindor sword. I bought this. It's a dagger. It's a really interesting metal scabbard. The hilt has like this woman on it, and the cross guard shows like an eyeball on it. It's pretty sharp right here at the tip. You can still really hurt someone. I mean, I've cut through fabric and some other things with this, and it's really cool. I've used this in Vork and Unknown Light 2, and this dagger is actually pretty good. Like I said, it's pretty sharp, but it's actually really fun to use for movies. This is only a toy sword, but I got it at GameStop for free for like a partnership or whatever it was. Like if you buy something from GameStop, you get another item for free. It was like a dealership, something like that. I got this Attack on Titan cosplay sword, and it's actually really cool. Like it has this. You can push that. You can push this part. And you push this, or hold in these. You can pull the blade out and like turn it around and stuff like that. You could have the blade taken out and like do this like as if you're going to fly into the air. And yeah, I love Attack on Titan. It's been like one of my favorite anime shows that I've been watching for quite some time. I have a few other good toy sorts, but this is something that I bought after my Grandpa Gary died. Like the Wizard of Law video that I showed, where it was in loving memory of him. I went to Barnes and Nobles and I bought this Harry Potter Elder Wand replica. It's really cool. They did not have Harry's wand. They had Snape's wand or Hermione's wand, but I mostly want Harry's wand. Snape's wand did look cool, but the older wand, I'm like the most powerful wizard in the world. No joke. I also have a fixation on 3 really good animated movies, and 2 of them are done by Disney. I also have this fixation on 3 really good animated movies. 2 of them are done by Disney, and 1 of them is done by a company called TMS. The first one is The Black Cauldron. I've been watching this since I was a kid. I've always wanted to own the original 1998 VHS version and Golden Collection version. What's really cool about this version is that it's the original 25th anniversary edition. And I want to tell you guys that before this came out, when the movie came out in theaters, it did not do well at the box office, and they're not telling you the real reason that much on YouTube, but I have the real reason. The real reason it didn't do so well in the box office was because it was the 80s. No one wanted to watch a dark fantasy movie in the 80s because you were considered a nerd to watch a dark fantasy movie in the 80s. Because in the 80s, everyone was all so happy and relaxed, and they loved beach movies, and they mostly, especially, loved to watch movies that involve technology. Movies like Star Wars, The Terminator, Aliens, and so forth. But again, a cult following, which is good. And luckily, I happen to be one of those cult followers. My other movie obsession is Tales from Earthsea, and you may blame me for this, but this is my favorite Studio Ghibli movie. There's something about this movie that makes you love it a lot more than the other Studio Ghibli movies. I mean, I love them all. Just this one, I just love the best. It has my kind of interests, and like since dark fantasy is part of my interests, this is something about this movie. When it comes to dark fantasy, I happen to love it. It's like watching Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and that kind of stuff. And watching this in the HD version is just really, really awesome. What I also love about this movie is that I like the actor for Aaron. His name is Matt Levin. He is a film producer and voice actor. He's mostly known as Ben Stiller extras, as in most Ben Stiller movies that he directs, like Tropic Thunder, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and Dodgeball. Ben Stiller is one of the most trustworthy extras that he gets to be a part of. I don't own this movie yet, but I hope I get for my birthday. It's a Japanese animated movie by TMS called Akira, where it's basically this biker gang fighting against another biker gang in Neo Tokyo in 2019. And one of the biker gang members gets psychic powers and goes on a rampage. And it's actually a really interesting story. It can be confusing, like, we all know who these kids are that kind of look old and like, what is the point of this? But it's a really interesting movie, and it's beautifully animated and stuff like that. So these are those 3 movies that I love to death, is a part of my interests. And Akira, even though it is based in the future, it's also a part of the retro interests that I just love to death. I hope you guys enjoyed the documentary. Now you guys know a little bit about me, you get to know about my autism and stuff like that. And I promise I will be making more movies. Like I said in the video that I made before summer vacation ended, I have so many plans to know to do. The Battle for SSGs will be coming out soon. I really promise you on that. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the year as I progress with my YouTube channel. Bye.